What's good? What's good? What's good? This is your girl Nala-Ife for House of Cards Tarot. We are streaming live on both of our channels, House of Cards Tarot and House of Cards Talk Live. Thank you guys for taking a moment to join into this presentation. I will be starting here shortly and going over some details. Just to For those who are watching this back after this is posted, hopefully you are watching it on our new channel, House of Cards Tarot. All of the details are in the description box. Make sure that you thumbs up the video and you subscribe to the new channel. I will have it posted on the new channel for playback purposes. The original, okay, is set for House of Cards Tarot, okay, with Nala-Ife. We're just doing a broadcast also on our original channel, and that is House of Cards Talk Live. But this is to help those who are still on our new channel, on our old channel, transition to our new channel for certain types of tarot readings, okay? I'm going to be getting some things together and turning on the camera here. We're going to talk about coronavirus part 2. We've already done a coronavirus reading, okay? A shout out to Tiffany. Hi there, Tiffany. I'll be joining in on the stream here in just a moment. But just to kind of give you guys, while we're getting some things together, acquainted, we've already done our first coronavirus reading. It is located on our House of Cards Tarot channel. There may be a bit of confusion because you see two streams if you are subscribed to both, and that's just so that we can broadcast what's happening on House of Cards Tarot, okay, with Nala-Ife, to our other platforms, okay, so that we can get everyone in the know of what's going on, okay. Tiffany says here, so excited for this reading. Have so much anxiety over this, and a lot of people have, a lot of people do. Absolutely, absolutely, and I'm happy to facilitate another reading, because we are going to be using, I'll show you guys the cards, the Lost Tarot of Nostradamus. We will be using that for this broadcast. We're also going to be using the Thoth Tarot, okay, to break some things down as well. But this is going to be part 2. Part 1 is on our channel, House of Cards Tarot. So different than House of Cards Talk. House of Cards Tarot is primarily for tarot readings, such as your monthly tarot scopes, your mid-monthly tarot scopes that are based on the 12 zodiac signs, and also based on cusp signs. We're getting a lot of people are enjoying the cusp reading, so I'm happy to give them. We also do celebrity readings, we do public figure readings, and things like this, things that are going on. We're starting to add this content. So if you want to see more of this content, and not have to worry if I'm going to do a double broadcast, because I will not be doing double broadcasts going forward. For as we go forward, I'll just be doing it for certain types of broadcasts. Make sure that you are subscribed to our House of Cards Tarot channel with Nala-Ife, okay. There's also 2 emblems. The emblem that you see right now on the screen is for the original channel, which was originally INNERELEMENTTAROT, but it's House of Cards Talk, so different than the tarot, okay. It's just a difference in the third word, talk versus tarot. But make sure you subscribe to both platforms. All right, give me just a moment, guys. We're going to get into this. All right. We had a lot of things come out in that first reading. We had a lot of stuff come out, shake out in the first reading, okay. So if you've not already done that, please go and check out the first reading that we did. I'm going to put that in the chat room really quick here and put it on the screen, okay. Make sure you go and check out that reading. Give me just one moment. Let's see if I have it. One momento, one momento. I will make sure when I come back, I'm just gathering folks. So while people are coming in, what you're listening to in the meantime is just a little bit of vibrational music to open up our psyche, to open up and help clear, clean, massage, and enliven our third eye. Because with these type of readings, my goal is to not only be your host and your guide into what I'm seeing, but also to spark your own intuition as well, because it is very powerful. Let's see. Let's see. I do not care for, give me just a moment. I do not care for the new studio settings for YouTube Studio, but I guess we got to get with it, honey, or get left. But I could do without. Okay. All right. Let me give you guys. Let me see if I can get this. If they'll open it. You might hear feedback from the video playing. Just give me one moment. Pause. Okay. I'm going. How's it go? How's it go, everybody? This is your girl Nala-Ife. You guys hear that? That's the first. That was the first coronavirus video that I did, and so this is a follow up to that. And let me go ahead and post the link in the chat. And here we go. And that is the link to the first video. You can find this on our House of Cards, okay, Tarot channel. All of the details are in the description box, all right? And yeah, let's get into it. All right, so I have my the Lost Tarot of Nostradamus. I'll be using that to clarify so that way you guys can see that. Okay. And that's these cards here. All right. And so this is the first time I'm actually playing with this deck. So this is intuition. I will be utilizing the Thoth Tarot, my larger ones here, to guide us per question. All right. But let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and get cracking. If you guys have questions, do not hesitate. Okay. Do not hesitate. This is and also too, before I get started, if you want to know the difference between the channels, this on the screen right now, what you guys see on the screen right now, this is the House of Cards Tarot with Nala-Ife. This is the channel where we do all of our tarot readings for your zodiac sign, all of our celebrity tarot readings. Okay. This is that channel. And also our public figure readings. And this is the channel too, where this reading will rest as its home, even though we're doing a special broadcast on our original channel. This is our original channel. You guys just saw that change. House of Cards Live Talk. That is what we do, impromptu talks about occult, esoteric matters. We do impromptu readings, that sort of thing. We talk about things as far as when we talk about the metaphysical realm and the occult, we talk about things to empower you for your everyday things that you want to do to utilize your resources or to utilize your energy, your chi, your ashe to make things happen in your world. And this is where we started. Okay, so this channel here is our OG channel, so make sure you subscribe to both if you are new to any of our channels. Okay, make sure you subscribe to both, because on this channel I go ham. I say things the way I want to say them. We don't practice a lot of PC words. I give things from my perspective, but I leave it open for other people to think about the information that's being presented and even offer up their opinions. Okay, so make sure you subscribe to that channel as well. All right, so I just want to put that in the in the live. Hey there, good afternoon, Rasta Empress. She says here, Miss Nala-Ife, good afternoon. I'm glad to catch you live concerning this virus. Yesterday, the health minister declared the first case of the virus. Wow. Yeah, they're doing it. They're doing it. Everything's shutting down. I mean, there's things going on, and what we're looking at here, in this second reading, is to really ascertain what's happening. Okay, because there is a narrative that's being drawn, and I'm not looking to tell people to ignore their health, not whatsoever. I'm not going to be the one to tell you. I'm coming from my perspective. Let me give you a little bit of background about where I'm coming from. Okay. I find it very interesting overall, this whole coronavirus situation. In 2012, I had what I would normally call just a regular cold, chest cold. I have asthma. Okay. I had it since I was a kid. I have the trifecta, all the allergies, right? And it's true, that people who have these upper respiratory, issues need to take extra precaution. But in what would normally be seasonal allergies and just maybe a little bit of a cold, I went into a hospital to get maybe a Z-Pack, which they give you like either antibiotics or they give you steroids, right? So I go into this place down here in Colorado, the University of Colorado, which is a research and teaching hospital. I go in there, seemingly fine, was tested for flu and everything, and left out of there with worse symptoms. I mean, guys, basically 2 days after that visit, my symptoms got worse. My breathing got worse, more shallow, hardly no oxygen. My mom had to call the ambulance because I was still trying to go to work. I was in sales. Had to come. It got so bad to when I got out the shower, I could barely even get myself dressed. At that point, she called the ambulance, took me to a whole other hospital. Come to find out, within that 24, 48-hour period, what would have normally been maybe a chest cold turned back to be H1N1. And if you guys remember, when H1N1 was released, it's the bird flu, the aviary, like the bird flu or whatever. And so when I compared my symptoms to what I had prior to that, it wasn't that serious. It was just irritating and getting in the way of my day. But within 24 to 48 hours of that situation, of going to this teaching hospital, this testing hospital, okay, that I went to, I was damn near like out of here. When I actually arrived to the hospital, I had pneumonia in the what is it, the left lung, the lower left part of my lung had pneumonia, developed pneumonia, and it was viral pneumonia. Okay. And the reason why I say that it doesn't make any sense, because for as long as I was sick prior, it should have been more, even though thank God it wasn't. I'm just saying, if that were true, it would have been more, right? And I was on an oxygen machine for over a month after that period. So the shit was fucked up. It was fucked up. Okay. Excuse my language, but I have to say it the way it is. And I, apologize if that, shakes or rattles some people. We curse from time to time on our new channel too. Okay. But it came back that I had this situation. And it wasn't no slight cold. H1N1 the reason why I'm bringing this up is that it is a part of the, I believe it's the SARS epidemic. It's a part of the corona, like, virus set of viruses. Okay. But the way that this virus went in and attacked, at the time that I was admitted, okay, I had acute enlarging of my heart. So I had acute enlarging of my heart. They could tell that it was related to the condition because of the way the heart looked. It was stressed. Okay. Again, was on an oxygen machine. Even when I was released to go to work, I still had to carry a small oxygen machine. Okay. And mind you, at the time, I was working out, eating healthy, vitamins, still doing that to this day. But the comparison between the symptoms of the coronavirus seems pretty, it doesn't seem as much in severity as the bird flu, which is basically what I contracted. And like I said, with having asthma for all my life, you can expect to have, upper respiratory infections, maybe being more susceptible to things, but I never caught the flu. I moved to Denver, Colorado in '08. Prior to that, I was 27 years old. Prior to that, I believe right about 27. Prior to that, with all of the asthma and everything from Memphis, Tennessee, I never had an issue. And it wasn't until I went to this hospital in 2012 that what my normal symptoms would have been for maybe asthma, needing, a breathing treatment, blah, 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 turned into something else within a 24, 48-hour period. It wasn't no 2 weeks later, then I'm sick, 14 days in incubation, and then I'm sick. No, honey. It literally went left real fast, right? So that's why I particularly had questions, and what kind of sparked my need for investigation with it. I'm like, something seems a bit off, because the strain of flu that I had, what is considered to be within the family of coronaviruses. That's the reason why you guys, when you look at Lysol cans, they say coronavirus, right? They say coronaviruses because there are several viruses that fall under the coronavirus. I believe it's called MERS, or SARS falls under that, and bird flu, swine flu, that sort of thing. All of those fall under this umbrella. But this particular strain, 14 days of incubation, and then boom, you get symptoms. Okay. Now, the thing about the flu is that we do have to be cleaner in what we do. We do have to be mindful of things. Okay. I've always been very careful because of being a caretaker. However, we have to be careful what's happening the after you've healed. I can tell you that I find it interesting that I have neurological issues as related to fibromyalgia, which did not take place or start up until in my life. In my life, there's not even a family history of fibromyalgia until after H1N1. So the after effects are more damaging than sometimes you being in the hospital. And it was a close call. If I hadn't got to the hospital when I did get to the hospital for that particular disorder that I believe I contracted from a hospital, a teaching hospital, might I add, it would have been a different story. We probably wouldn't be talking to me, okay? Because it was that bad. I was like, my oxygen levels were so low by the time the ambulance got there, that it was bad. Okay. It got to that point. But I have a moon in Taurus, a Capricorn sun. I'm stubborn. I didn't want to need to go to the hospital, whatever. I am a hypochondriac, but not to that point of something that I'm used to. And this was definitely something I was not used to. I've never experienced anything quite like that before. Even with having asthma attacks as kids, I never experienced anything like that. So real quick recap as it relates to the coronavirus. What we discovered in the previous reading is that the coronavirus is the strain that we're looking at now is engineered, but it's engineered from a virus that was already here. Okay. They took, from what we saw in the reading, they took a strain. Okay. And that reading was done over almost a month ago, I think, if not over a month ago. They took a strain, and that is what was engineered. We found that the virus did not actually come from what I saw in the reading. It did not come from the diet, or the animals that were being eaten in China, in Wuhan, China. Okay. It was something that was actually, allegedly, per the reading, something that was released within the wet markets in Wuhan, China. Wet markets are like farmers markets here in the United States. Okay. And the reason why this made it even more, devastating is because the wet markets are a source of tourism in China. So it actually is going to be a gathering place for locals as well as international guests. So my thought here is that it's very similar to releasing something at a mall, like the Mall of America or something of that nature, okay? Here in the United States, where there are the locals, the people who live in the city, but there are also people who are traveling, okay? So it was supposedly released there. And what we found is that the people on the countryside, the people who actually traveled to the wet markets, if it was released per the food, which we saw it wasn't based on it being released per the food, okay? If it were, then you would have saw cases in the countryside and other places of China that came up first prior to them traveling to Wuhan to deliver their goods to buying customers. But instead, it was centralized in Wuhan, a city within a province in China, as opposed to the outskirts. So that's where I kind of had questions about this. And the things, the exotic foods and animals that are being sold in this particular wet market, those are the same things that have been digested and sold for over 1,000 years. Why now does the diet of the citizens of Wuhan or delicacies that are native to China, why would that all of a sudden now be responsible for this strain of a virus, right? So that's kind of where the questions came in for me, okay? So let's go ahead and get into the first thing I want to know, just to clear some stuff up. Hey there, Kimberly Dixon. Hey there, what's going on? Yes, honey. I'm still in Colorado, child. I'm still in Colorado, but we take a different types of precautions now. But yes, Ross the Empress, I'm still here. But like I said, the quote was teaching hospital. This is where they do a lot of testing, where they do a lot of research. This is where they research viruses and strains of bacteria and things of that nature. I got treated at an operating hospital, but where I potentially caught this strain was at a teaching hospital. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's the University of Colorado, Denver. So then let's go into, I want to know initially, are there certain people that are not susceptible to the coronavirus? Are there certain people that are not susceptible to the coronavirus? We have the Fool card. That's for me, youth. We have swiftness, fastness. So I'm getting young people. People who are young with the Fool card. People who are very, swift, very fast, very new. Okay. Disappointment. Knight of Disc. So 5 of Cups, Knight of Disc. And then the Prince of Swords. So what I'm getting here, supposedly, what we're seeing here is that everyone is susceptible to the strain of coronavirus that's being released. However, what I'm seeing here is that if you are young, okay, young, swift, fast, that kind of energy, it may not cause more than regular, oh, I just got a download as I got this. Oh shit. Okay. Okay. So now I'm kind of understanding some things here. So what they're saying is that, and this is probably why they're closing schools, but they're not telling anyone why they're closing schools. They're saying that they're doing this They're giving you partial truths, okay? It's because younger people can spread the virus a lot faster because of their mobility, and the fact that they don't receive symptoms any more than a regular cold. And I want to know, and so younger people would be the carrier of the virus. Okay. So then the other question I have, then, so younger people can carry the virus. There's interference, strife, prudence, and dominion. Okay. Younger people supposedly can carry the virus, but their bodies are immune to this. However, if they are in households with older people, because of what the virus, like I told you guys, with the H1N1, it gave me acute enlarged heart. So if an older person has heart failure, liver failure, kidney failure, this could kill them and prove to be deadly because of the medications that they're on. It's bigger than just their immune system. It is the failures of the body. So out of some form of prudence, which is the Eight of Pentacles here, something is telling me they did not expect the virus to operate this way, because what they were going for were certain genetics. That's what we saw in the first reading. But what they're finding is that this virus is deadly to elderly people, which is a cash crop. It's a cash crop. This also affects voting. This is something that they did not expect politically that would take place here in the United States. Yeah. Younger people have dominion with this particular virus, potentially because of what I'm thinking too, certain vaccinations. Okay, at least here in the United States, and certain vaccinations, certain things that certain people would have had that, let's say, our grandparents or baby boomers would not have been vaccinated for when they were in school, in grade school, or in college. I'm seeing that younger people have dominion over the virus. I just got to ask the question. I'm going to look at the chat here really quick. I want to know if this was in the intention was to cull the older population, if the intentions of the virus was to cull older generations and older population. If you have questions, definitely lay them down in the chat, everyone. We have interference again, the same card we pulled before, the Knight of Cups, like a gift, something that the Tower, the Queen of Wands, and the Two of Cups. This was a feature of the virus that once it was released, was discovered, it would have this effect. Okay. So yes and no. Yes and no. Okay. They were not aware that it would be so deadly to elderly people. And that was not the intention. The intention was that it would be spread within communal groups, people within a communal society. So think about communal societies where people go to spas together. They go to, they spend a lot of time in enclosed environments or family settings. Okay. They were not, it was not accounted for, but people are thankful for the vaccinations that maybe were given to certain people, such as like certain vaccinations we had to take when we were kids. Like if you're an 80s baby, a 90s baby, or a 2000s baby, maybe even a 70s baby, there were certain vaccinations that were required that helped safeguard from certain things that this particular strain of coronavirus does. The idea was that to be released amongst a population that was communal, and from there kind of destroyed from the inside out. That was the thought process. Okay. But this Knight of Cups looks like opportunistic thing, where now that we understand that it is potent against elderly people, it may potentially be used as a way to call off older people in society. Who suffer from certain heart conditions and conditions with their organs, who don't have the ability to snap back real quick. I'm also getting, like, when I look at this interference card right here, unless you had something in your DNA or something biologically done to interfere, it goes straight through. The younger people have something to interfere with the spread of this particular neurovirus. I got neurovirus. Know that I don't know if they've used that term, but I'm getting neurovirus, something about neuro. Um, what we do need to, one of the things that it is going to later on down the line, is that those who were susceptible, who survived it, who actually had bad maybe reaction to it, or this particular strain, and I'm not going to say survive, but they don't actually get really sick, may have issues with their eyesight, because eyesight is also a part of neurology. Like if you're having neurological issues, that can affect your eyesight as well. By proxy of, if any one of you have migraines, you notice that when you're having a migraine from that muscle, it affects your vision. Your vision gets blurry. Okay, there's tons of nerves and running to the eyesight. So I'm feeling like eyesight will be affected by this strain. But something just also told me there's something else that was actually affecting a lot of Americans, isn't the original strain in China. Let me pull out the Lost Tarot of Nostradamus. Talk to us about this strain. You say, yeah, you're 80s baby, Rasta Empress. Yep. Talk to me about this strain. What makes this, is this, let me ask this question here. I'm going to pull this up. Is this, I want to know if this strain that is here in the United States, is this the same strain that broke out in Wuhan, China? It's the same strain that we're seeing here in the United States, the same strain of coronavirus that recently broke out in Wuhan, China. Prophetess. We have the Three of Wands. This is the Lost Tarot of Nostradamus. We have the Three of Wands. We have the Prophetess card. The Prince. The Three of Pentacles. And the Sun card. This is not the same strain. I didn't, that's what made, something made me ask that question. My readings, for you guys who are not familiar with me, the way I do my readings, sometimes the questions that I'm asking are the answers. You know what I'm saying? The strain that we're seeing potentially propagated here in the United States is not the exact strain that was sent out on Wuhan, China. Okay. My next question then will be, okay, we got Temperance before I can even, okay, balance. Something about them needing to balance. Okay. I want to know if the strain here in the United States is a cover up. If the strain that's here in the United States that we're seeing affect people in the United States. I'm not talking about people who are traveling. I'm talking about the strain that for people who've never been anywhere else. Is this strain that's been released here? Okay, the strain that's different here, was it released here in the United States? Let me get that out the gate first. The strain here that is affecting Americans here in the United States, was this released in the United States? We have the Two of Wands. We have the Nine of Wands. We have the Tower card. We have the Death card. Bitch, are you serious right now? And we have the Postulant, which is like a monk. This is live and direct, okay? All right, this is live. This isn't pre-recorded. You guys are seeing this shit with me, okay? We have the Two of Wands here. This was implemented by persons in high authority. You see the two crowns, okay? What's going on, Tiffany? Exactly. What's going on, Tawanda? Tawanda's a content creator here on YouTube. Make sure you guys go and subscribe to her channel. Okay, we have the Two of Wands. Y'all are seeing this live, all right? The Two of Wands talks about taking a direction, picking a direction. You have two different directions you can go in. But in this particular card, I can't help but see two stars. I can't help but see two people in power, representing some sort of royalty, some sort of person that is a dignitary. Okay. Then I see here with the Nine of Wands, like this lion has a sword, and the lion is sitting under 9 stars, 9 territories, the 9th district, I'm hearing. But they're in defense. And look at what's under this lion. There are sheep. Get the fuck out of here. You see that? There are sheep. So in defense. And the Nine of Wands also talks about burden. It was the United States. It was the burden of the country to create hysteria with the Tower card. Create with the Death card. Their own catastrophic event, so that they could seem in alignment with the world and maybe what was going on with the world in other countries, to make it seem as though that we are a part of what's going on here in the United States is aligned with what's happening in another country. Does that make sense? It's like a smoke screen. But what they did not understand, because in Wuhan, China, from what I'm understanding, young people, middle-aged people, and elderly people also got sick from that strain that was released, right? This strain here in the United States seems to only affect, or we've only seen effects from elderly people or people with pre-existing major conditions as it relates to their organs. Okay? That's very, very interesting. Yeah, usual, exactly. To one that says sounds like usual jankiness. Exactly. Exactly. So let me ask this question here. Did the strain that was reported on in Wuhan, China, has that actually made it to the coast of the United States? Has it actually made it to the United States? The strain that broke out in Wuhan, China, has that strain actually made it to the United States? We have the Moon card. Okay, they've contained it. Okay. Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles talks about hoarding or containing something. The Four of Pentacles talks about holding your resources. The Moon card, keeping that under wraps. Okay. The Empress. The Hierophant. Actually, this is the Five of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles. Sorry, it's not the Hierophant, because it would have been labeled. It just, the Hierophant came to my mind when I saw the Five of Pentacles. I saw it as like institutionalized. Okay, it's something being institutioned. The actual strain from Wuhan, China, here is in the United States. That same card, the burden. But there's been some sort of containment of that strain of the virus. This is dangerous. I'm going to tell you why this is dangerous. And this is where I need you to use your minds, okay, and not panic. Because what I'm seeing here is generational, something as it relates to generational. Americans do need to take heed about certain testing and certain medicines, okay? It feels like an opportunistic kind of grab with this virus, the way that people are responding to it. There's an opportunity that is being presented that wasn't originally presented. I got a problem with this Empress card right here in the middle of this deck right here. As I explained to you guys at the beginning of this broadcast, the effects of having H1N1, which is the bird flu, and the things that I have experienced, okay? And the reason I told you about what I experienced, because some of the things that I've experienced happened well after I was sick. And my concern is this virus, not necessarily that it causes catastrophic events to where we're knowledgeable about these events, okay? But I'm concerned as to what it does to the woman. And the reason why I say that is we have the Empress here. The Empress is perpetually pregnant. And I felt that this was a genetic, it felt like it was a genetic, something specific to certain people's genetics. But what we're also finding out is that it may have adverse effects, or what we will find out, on women and fertility. And that was some unexpected shit. So, population control via culling fertility rates is what we're seeing. The virus that's being sent, that's on outbreak here in the United States, is a different strain than what broke out in Wuhan, China. It's a separate strain. It's not an evolved strain. It is a separate strain. Why is it a separate strain? And why am I getting this, that it affects fertility? Whoa. Okay. 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 Because we got the fertility twice. We got the moon. The moon is represented, they say it's represented by Pisces, but we know the moon is also the mother energy, the divine feminine. And then to exclamation point on the sentence is the Empress. She's showing up. Okay. Tiffany Pullen says, I think the sheep represents God's people and what he has his hand over. It could be. Exactly. What's going on, Melissa Salinas? So let's see here. Let's see. The sheep could also, I'm gonna hit you hard with this though. The sheep could also represent us following and believing in whatever is happening. And the lion with the sword, right? You can interpret it both ways. Could we all be falling for the okie doke when something else is going on that we won't be able to account for years from now, right? Or is it the hand of God, supposedly, shielding the people? But why us versus anyone else? We're human. So we're all susceptible to the same, not the same demons, but demons and angelic energy. So what's so great about us? That's kind of what has hurt us in the past, is that we have this notion that by proxy of me being here in the United States, I'm greater than, instead of looking at the genetics of things. But then genetically, some people could be protected from certain strains. And we will go there in this reading. So y'all just stay tuned. Okay. So what I want to know is, did the strain that was released in not in the United States, I'm sorry, in Wuhan, China, will it affect birth rates of Chinese citizens? Will the strain released in Wuhan, China affect birth rates of the Chinese citizens? The Four of Pentacles again. The Ace of Swords. The Ten of Wands. Wow. The Four of Pentacles. Wait a minute. This is the Four of Cups. Four of Cups. Bitch. Are you serious? And the Three of Wands. You damn right. Some women will not be able to hold children. Surgery. Whenever you see the Ace of Swords as it relates to pregnancy, this could talk about abortion. This could talk about miscarriage. Don't just look like the people in the village, all under the skies, all up under the suns, the generations. There's declarations being made on the population. Burning up the generations. Three of Wands. The Three of Wands talks about turning your back on everything you knew, waiting for your ships to come in. We saw the Three of Wands in the previous reading. Go and check out the first coronavirus reading. We saw the Three of Wands as it related to Wuhan, China. This is to stop. This was sent to stop the birth of a new nation. Will women here in the United States be affected? Will fertility rates in the United States be affected by the coronavirus strain here in the United States? So what we've discovered in this reading is that the strain that people are getting sick with here in the United States is different than the strain that was released in Wuhan, China. What we have also learned, allegedly, everything is allegedly, okay, is that the strain of the virus that hit in Wuhan, China, will have, allegedly, okay, will have effects on fertility. Five of Swords. You see the people fighting? And it doesn't that look like a horse, a unicorn of some sort? I want you guys to look at that. Doesn't that look like a unicorn taking out a head of state? Or the head of state being in alignment with one of the four horsemen? So that if there's a war that breaks out, there's no children being birthed, but there's fighting. A head of state, someone head of state that's connected. When we see a horse here, one of the four horsemen. Okay. Justice came out. The sun came out. The Seven of Swords. This is behind dignitary. It almost looks like a White House or some sort of place where decisions are made, a college, a panel. And then we also have here the Six of Pentacles, the Balance, the Magician. All of this, and you can see on the head on a dragon. This was something that head of states already knew what time this was, guys. It's going back to that first reading. This was something that was already curated. What we failed to ask in the first reading was a lot of things. Shit. Okay. I just went on and did a reading. I can't say that I'm an expert on these things, but I will allow myself to be a vehicle for spirit to speak through. And what I'm seeing here is that the United States needed to declare so many cases going down in the United States to level out with what we saw going on in China and in some areas of Italy. And I'm going to ask about Italy here in just a moment. And in other areas of Europe, the West needed to level out with what was happening in the East. Otherwise, it would look like biological warfare. Is kind of what I'm seeing. Jennifer asks, is it going to be as bad in the United States as that's what I wanted to know. Because in the United States, I think what was unaccounted for, and that's another thing we discovered in this reading, was the effect that the strain that was released here in the United States, the strain that was released here, which is separate allegedly per this reading, separate from the strain that was released in China, what was not accounted for was the effect on the elderly. So let me see here. Because from what I'm seeing here, younger people are not affected. But what I'm concerned about is the strain here in the United States. Will that affect the strain that's affecting people in the United States? Let's say it that way. Will that affect birth rates in the long term negatively? Something, okay. Let me lay it out. Okay, we have the Six of Wands, victory. We have the Eight of Cups, Eight of Swords, the Four of Wands. This don't look too okay, and the Knight of Swords, or the Knight of Wands here. This is the Knight of Wands. And the Hanged Man. I wouldn't be so alarmed if we didn't have victory here. And along with victory, we have the Four of Wands, which literally represents family and foundations. And in between victory and family and foundations, we have the Eight of Cups, which is the abandoning, like something being abandoned, something being left. And then the Eight of Swords, which is people fighting within their own sector. Like this is like infighting. Normally the Eight of Swords talks about fighting with yourself, like you keeping your own self blocked mentally. But this talks about mental entrapment within the country itself, being mentally guarded, not able to think clearly, infighting with the country, maybe after something is abandoned, okay? And it affects the family dynamic. I don't like to see the Knight of Wands here because it's almost like because it affects the family, then there's war or sending out of troops because families are being affected. And I can't help but wonder, this is what I got, and this is going to sound crazy as hell, but I wonder if this is the effect of the virus, if it, as much as it's the effect of the medicine, because this doesn't feel immediate. This feels like something is abandoned and there's a lot of infighting within the country. But as it relates to maybe vaccinations or medicine that comes out, because here we have victory, like yay, we have a cure for the coronavirus, yay, right? Then people start to take that and they abandon the other good health choices, or abandon their immune systems of some sort, abandon common sense, cleanliness in some kind of way, or the people are abandoned in some kind of way. Some way this feels like by taking certain medicinals that are being hyped as a result of the coronavirus. And this could be true for China as well. The long-term effects of the medicinals will affect population. So it's not the virus that one should fear. It's the so-called remedy. Bitch. Say what now? It's the so-called remedies, the antivirals that play a part in the actual depopulation. Now that they understand what the neuro, and I say neuro because this is a neurovirus, when it has effects on the organs like this, you got to remember that your brain stem and your brain control your organ function. And there are studies that show that when organs start to fail, there are parts of the brain or the neurological the synapses or the parts of the brain that also die off that may be in control of certain organs. But not this strain that's here in the United States, but the antivirals that are released can and possibly will allegedly affect future birth rates. So what we're learning in the reading so far is that what was not expected were the deaths of elderly people or people who are not in the best health that are related to the silent generation, because some of those people are still alive. They're in their 80s and late 70s, and the baby boomers that are in their 70s and 60s and late 50s or middle 50s. They're in, well, not 70s, 80s and 70s are the silent generation, early 70s, 60s, and a portion of the 50s are the baby boomers. If they're not in the best of health, they could be affected from organ failure. That was unexpected, but now that may be utilized for future things, okay? But that was unexpected. It may be utilized for political reasons, because some groups, age groups, vote differently than younger age groups, okay? However, the antiviral that I'm picking up that is coming could have adverse effects on birth rates. And it's not something that we have to wait and see for 10 years. It's like you take the antiviral this year, and let's say you're 25, and then let's say you get married by the time you're 28. You don't have a history of problems with pregnancy, but this could be an offshoot of that. There could be something that takes place in the womb. So the divine feminine, not to make this a case against the divine feminine, but she is the gateway. Sick, that either her offspring are sick or they're non-existent. Okay? Do y'all have any questions? You said what's crazy is the stuff they're telling us to do are the things we should be doing anyway. Exactly. Exactly. It is to create hysteria. Will the United States in the next year, I would like to know this, will the United States in the next year enact martial law as a result of the coronavirus? In the next year, will the United States enact martial law as it relates to the coronavirus? One more shuffle. We have the Hierophant. So this is the actual Hierophant. It's labeled so that way for some of you guys who this deck of cards is new. I am using the Lost Tarot of Nostradamus. Make sure you thumbs up the video, guys. Make sure you like the video, share, and subscribe to House of Cards Tarot, which we are doing a double feature streaming today on both channels, House of Cards Tarot and House of Cards Talk, okay? But make sure you subscribe to both platforms. We have the Hierophant. So the Hierophant is the institution. They are the governing body. They are the elected officials. They are the professors. They are the college administrators. They are the government officials. Okay, so we have the Hierophant. We have the Moon card. We saw the Moon card previously. Okay. And as it related to the coronavirus and its connection to the feminine. Okay. We have here the Nine of Cups. This is family, wish fulfillment. Okay. We have the Seven of Pentacles. And we have the Seven of Wands. So I don't see martial law. What I do see is concentration in certain locations. I don't see martial law as it is described. But what I do see is, like, for instance, certain counties and certain locations in self-imposed quarantine, certain areas in which, whether you have the coronavirus, ever contracted it or not, you may be required to be treated or cleared in certain areas or population. I don't see martial law as it relates to the coronavirus, but I do see certain groups, because the Seven of Wands is here. Or Seven of Fire. This is defense, being in defense. And the way that the citizens will willingly get these treatments so that they can have access to their normal life again. With the Six of Pentacles right here, the Six of Worlds, the Six of Pentacles, because Earth represents the world. In order to have freedom and so-called defend yourself from subsequent future attacks, there will be like groups and gatherings. The state will require you to have certain certification in order to regain access to the general populace, in an efforts to control, or not say control, allegedly protect the community, is what I'm seeing. So don't be surprised if it's going to go a little bit deeper, guys. Then we're not quite ready for all jobs being stay at home, even though that's the move that they're going to be making. Not just because of this, because of what it does financially. Okay, not just because of cold and sickness. Because mind you, there are other strains of other cold and illnesses that are more deadly and have been more deadly than this strain or supposed strain here in the United States. Okay. And the reason I'm saying supposed is because the treatment for this may prove to be more deadly than the actual virus in over time. Okay. Almost immediate for some elderly folk. Okay. Yeah. I'm seeing that the treatment may be harsh for some of the elders in the current time, but longer down the line it could affect neurologically the people. But in order to have access to the general population again, whether that's work, play, school, you must get papers of some sort that say that you have been vaccinated in a effort to protect the community, like a fortress. A lot of people will be rejecting this and looking into it. There may be fights over this government regulation, but ultimately the government may win, because there you go, the hanged man. Depending on what type of job you have, if your children depend on public school or government aid, even if you're on welfare or any state funded program, in order to continue to get those benefits, you may be required to submit some sort of a proof that you have been vaccinated, because of the damage here in the United States that's being, blasted on the news, or some sort, and also the damage that's happening in China and in neighboring countries such as Italy, as far as it relates to Asia, neighboring European countries such as Italy. You say your homegirl will be working at home for 90 days. Exactly. And Tawanda says here, the hell, the flu and pneumonia shots be attacking these old people's immune systems, trying to force people to mess themselves up. Okay. And I'm not a vaccine. I never been vaccinated for the flu until my situation, and neurologically, after, matter of fact, after that whole occurrence, when I worked for a giant media company when I contracted H1N1. But after that, I've never had migraines. I started developing severe migraines, and I started developing fibromyalgia. Both of these things can be treated by a arthritis doctor, or doctors who deal with rheumatologist, okay, or by a neurologist, okay. So just gonna tell you like that now. And last time I checked, even though men can have fibromyalgia, it primarily affects women. Okay. I got one last question. Unless you guys have more questions, let me know. Post the questions in the live stream. Remember, the live stream, the playback for this will exclusively be on the House of Cards Tarot channel. Okay. Once this stream ends, I will pull this from House of Cards Talk, and it will be exclusively on House of Cards Tarot with Nala-Ife. Okay. So you said, Kimberly Dixon said, I have to because I work in the healthcare field. Exactly. Exactly. So you want to pay attention. What I'm getting here, when you said that, you want to pay attention to eating foods that are rich in certain vitamins that reinforce the strength of your neurological system, reinforce your bones, okay? But and also things that protect women's health, reproductive systems. Men did not come out in this. Men were not as affected when it came to sexual energy as much as the women were. But the women are the holders of children. So if the women are sick, then by proxy, the men are. If the women can't reproduce or hold the child, then, to attack the men would be futile, because some men would still be able to drop seeds, right? But if you really want to affect birth rates, then you would cause injury to the female reproductive system. I just heard too that this also puts those women who are not affected in danger of being institutionalized in some kind of way or studied, because they don't have birth defects or birth issues, while others in their generation do. But that's not something that's the what I'm hearing is, this is not the result of the actual virus. This is the result of the antivirals. Okay. I just want to know a quick question. Are the reports in Italy of the outbreak in Italy, are these hyped up reports in Italy? I want to know. Show me. We have the Page of Wands, the Abyss, the Chariot, the Nine of Wands again. We seeing this card again with the sheep. Check out the sheep and the lion that's defending, but the lion could be deceptive too in this, because there's flowers or fleur de lis, you know, in St. Louis, not St. Louis, but in um New Orleans, they have the fleur de lis symbol, French symbol that looks like fleur de lis coming out of the mouth of the lion, like the lion is speaking roses and beautifulness, and all the sheep are like, yay, we're protected and shit, you know what I'm saying? And then we have fortitude here with this, which is the strength card. I find it funny that in this deck the strength card is the cow or the bull as opposed to the lion. So it's the Taurus energy as opposed to the energy of Leo. I find that very funny. Could this be because of Uranus transiting the sign of Taurus? We'll have to get into that astrological integer at a later date. So what I'm seeing here is they are that this is a real thing that's happening, because this feels like one of the nuns in the Catholic Church in Rome. This is something that's actually taking place in Italy. Italy could potentially be under attack. This reading is pulling out shit we shouldn't be knowing. I just want to let each and every one of you guys know this. And I thank you guys for viewing this, but some of the things that are being pulled out of this reading, I don't quite understand. I'm not going to sit here and act like I do. Not due to lack of aptitude. It's just kind of coming out of nowhere, and there's so many things that are coming out. But it almost looks like an attack on Italy, the Vatican, religion, the old world. Bitch, did you just hear that? In favor of a new generation. I'm going to ask it directly. Is the strain that has been released in Italy, is that the same strain from Wuhan, China? Is the strain that's affecting the population in Italy the same strain of coronavirus released in Wuhan, China? The Six of Cups, the Initiate, Nine of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles, Five of Swords. It's not the same strain. it feels like each area had a different strain, and it was initiated in Italy. The initiate. Doesn't that look like monks or people who already are reading something? People at churches, at mass. I'm getting that this strain that was released in Italy was released in the churches. And even though this is the Five of Cups, we still have like a lobster or crab like. This is a lobster. And y'all know that the United States is built on Cancer energy. What is that? What is that? You have the Capri, you have the I can't think of the name of it, but it's like we're on the axis with Cancer, the Cancer energy. It's also be Scorpionic or Piscean via water. But this is a different strain than what is released in Wuhan, and it didn't come from nobody traveling. It didn't come from anyone traveling. It's like every country is on code. Everything is was released within the environment. And in Italy, there is preservation of their elders. So there has been an outbreak with the elders. I'm just clarifying something, guys. I'm about to end this reading here shortly, but I'm just clarifying some things. I got 10, 10, 3, 7, and the star card. It's the same strain from the United States. It's the strain that's in Italy is the same strain that is watchable, manageable as the one here in the United States. And it's separate from the strain in Wuhan, China. That's all I got, y'all. That's all, folks. There's a lot going on. I may do a part 3. I'm gonna have to reassess what I'm seeing and what makes sense to me out of this reading in order to I kind of did this impromptu. I did not develop any questions. Every question that I asked were questions that came to me while I am live. Okay, so if you guys have any other questions, let me know. But the strain that's going down in Italy was released during church mass services, and we know that the Italians are Catholic, and that it is a national thing as it relates to going to Sunday mass. It is a cultural thing. So for them, the drop was in churches. Then where was the drop here in the United States? Because wait a minute, wait a minute. You know what? I'm going to ask the question. I'm going to use another set of cards, and then I'm going to end this live, y'all, because we don't went on longer than we supposed to. If the drop were in the churches in all this is allegedly, okay? All of this is allegedly. We do tarot. It does have its entertainment parts, but you know, it is what it is, okay? But if the drop happened in churches in Italy and at wet markets in Wuhan, China, Was the drop where the question I had was, where was the drop here in the United States? Was it actually travel, or did the drop take place? Because mind you, the effects on younger people are different than the effects on elderly. So could the drop here in the United States taking place in sports arenas? Because for the NBA to come out and then officially cancel the season, did the drop of this strain of virus here in the United States take place? And that's what I'm going to find out in sports. Going sports to baseball games, football games. And could have been here a lot longer than what we think now. What we see now is just, the why behind the what that could have been happening the whole time. And Melissa Salinas says here, they're saying we don't have many testing kits. And I believe we do. I don't believe anything happens. I believe we do strongly. Okay, so I want to know, did the United States coronavirus drop in sports arenas? Was that the drop? Possibly Super Bowl. Y'all know we just had the All-Star weekend. We have the 10 of disc, wealth, the 5 of wands, strife, the 3 of swords, sorrow, the 9 of wands, strength, and princess of disc. Hey honey, I'm live. I'm live right now. Right here. I'm using it. Okay, all right. Okay. Guys, I'm going to have to end this here shortly. Not only was it sporting events where a lot of money. I'm hearing that's what they're not telling us. They're not telling us that just because one player or two players, I believe, contracted coronavirus. The drop was in major sports arenas. Ace of disc, money. Also soldiers. Some bases, some military bases were affected allegedly. And there's the Tower card. When I look at this oppression, I see those things in the sky, those chemtrails, and how those military planes, how they'll zigzag. And then if you notice, when they do the chemtrail starts to swell out, which covers a certain square footage. Allegedly. Allegedly. Okay. But something with the military, the use of the military, but the use of big money, concerts, sports. And you guys got to remember there's more than just young people who go to nursing homes. There's nurses, there's doctors, there's CNAs, there's LPNs, all of varying ages as well. So you may say, well, if it was dropped off in there, then why the older people in the nursing home wasn't there? But the doctors, the nurses, the CNAs, the LPNs, the people who visit their families, okay, also can visit sporting events as well. Okay, y'all, I'm finna go ahead and close this reading. I done got I got my signal that I've either talked too much or just gonna leave it to where it is. Or honey, I probably ain't said enough. But y'all, thumbs up the video. Um, quick review. Hey there, Capri. Yeah, we are going to be I'm going to go ahead and release, because yeah, there is a press conference that Trump's going to be releasing today at 3 p.m. I did see that, Miss Melissa, and thank you for that reminder. So basically we discovered a lot of things, guys. Allegedly discovered in this reading. We've discovered that the strains that were released in Wuhan, China, are different than the strains that are being released in the West. Okay, they operate different and they have a different response. Okay, what we've also discovered is that the United States is prepared. Okay, no matter what is being said, it is actually prepared. That this new system that's being enacted was to possibly, allegedly, cover up biological warfare on the Chinese government. Okay, potentially, allegedly. Okay, what we're also discovering is that there's a two-sided sword thing, that it may, what we may see here in the upcoming future, is that it is a requirement for you to show that you have been vaccinated from the family of coronaviruses, in order to return to work or to school. That the vaccination, allegedly, or the cures or the medicines for the coronavirus, could have severe adverse effects to women's fertility and the neurological responses, such as eyesight and hearing. I heard hearing as well. I just didn't go into it because I was floored by that information being presented or coming through my reading. We're seeing it was not premeditated to cull out elderly people, but now that they understand the effect on elderly people, given following in, that this may be something, a political tactic for certain persons, depending on how certain age groups vote. Okay, that has something to do with this, or is a development as we're seeing the outbreaks. But what I found significant was that the outbreak in Italy, the strain, allegedly, per this reading, is separate also from the strain that was released in Wuhan, China. And what I kept getting throughout the reading, for those who may ask, well, did the strain mutate in some kind of way to to um to change once it hit a different shore? What we saw in the reading was that the strain was actually introduced to the populace through church mass, allegedly. uh Allegedly. Okay. So again, everything stated in this reading is allegedly. All right. I'm going to tell you one of the things that I feel still where, let me do this, is going to be your vibration, good health, because your vibration actually is what heals your body. Your vibration is what helps heal your DNA, believe it or not. How you think and how you feel and the energy in which you perpetuate is critical to the repairing of your cells and your DNA's molecular structure. And in the first reading, guys, I need you to go, and if you've not viewed the first coronavirus reading on this channel, House of Cards Tarot, I need you to view that, okay? Because in that we did see the crown chakra came out, and literally the name of corona means crown. And in this reading, we saw a lot of crowned beings with their hands in the pot and dictating the way that this virus would be dispersed and the as a pandemic. So the coronavirus is a virus of those with the crown upon the people who are the sheep. Okay? The coronavirus potentially and allegedly could be the first happenings of those with the crowns operating to control the masses, which were represented by the sheep. The very same masses that they claim to protect. Wow. Okay. Come together. And despite of this, this is not a time to isolate yourself. This is a time in which you do need to come together with people. This is not a time to become, a Autobot where you are isolated into just your one place. It's a time to embrace your loved ones, to strengthen your family bonds. That type of love raises your frequency and vibration. Seek the truth. You can see in this literal pose that this person is at one with the earth, with the animals, as if they're taking flight with the birds themselves. They're at one. So seek inner knowledge. Cut off these televisions and programs and allowing them to fuck with your energy, and seek inner truth, giving and receiving. This is about being a citizen for your community. And this is how we will continue success and growth. But this is just for those who are my committee members, who I stumble upon this reading. It was meant for you to hear this message. As long as you seek the truth and know the truth, and you give and receive that truth with your loved ones and with your community, my people, there will still be continued success and growth. And when they say seek, this is going into your DNA, your ancestor lineage. All of those chromosomes that make you who you are today, you have to go back within yourself to unlock truths and release those truths onto your people. And by you doing so, this will ensure success and growth. Anything outside of this is futile. Okay? I love each and every one of my babies. Thank you so very much for joining us. This was a very informative reading, and very confusing reading, and an enlightening reading. All three of those things. okay? I hope that you're able to take what you need from this reading and even make your own interpretations, okay? Make sure to thumbs up the video, make sure to share it, like it, and subscribe. Welcome to House of Cards Tarot. This is what we do, baby. I will see you guys in the rest of the mid-month readings, and we are also getting geared up to do the Trump files, okay, which is going to be a 3-part tarot reading series. Get your questions ready as it relates to the political climate this year, a political season, and as it relates to Trump, so that we can go ahead and bust down that information. And also, we're going to be returning with some celebrity readings, and Lil Wayne is up next for the celebrity reading. Okay, so make sure you subscribe, make sure that you thumbs up the video, and if you would like to book a personal reading, check the description box how you can contact me and the types of services that I offer. Okay, I am Nala-Ife for House of Cards Tarot and House of Cards Talk. I bid you guys a good afternoon, good evening, all right? And have a wonderful weekend until we meet up again. Peace.